Alright guys, so the plan for this video is to make a custom YouTube play button. So this play button is for Aaron Lutchman. So he is a creator down in Florida and I teamed up with him through the CreatorNow program. So he kind of wanted to be surprised. So what I'm going to do for this, I'm just going to make something real simple, but it's going to be very unique. So I'm going to stain the board red to represent the YouTube play button. And then I'm going to engrave his channel name and the actual play symbol. And then I'm going to spray paint those with glow-in-the-dark paint. So it'll be the red play button and then the actual little play symbol, and his name will be glow-in-the-dark when it's dark out. And then after that, I'm going to line the edges with LEDs. So it's going to look super sweet. So the plan is to stain the board, then engrave the things on there, the play button and his name, and then cut the profile out for the play button, then restain the edges and sand them down. Put the LEDs on and then send it to him in Florida. So that's the plan. Let's get right into it. Alright, so it's the next day. The board is dry with the red stain. So now we're going to throw the aura mask on, carve the play button, and carve the channel name. And then we'll get into everything else. So let's get into this step right now. Alright, so now we're just going to lay this out. Alright, so now that I got the aura mask on, I'm going to be able to load this part up into the machine, zero it, clamp it down, and run the file. So let's get into this. Alright, so I got the play button file loaded up on the CNC. So I'm going to run this file, and then I'm going to put in the 60-degree V-bit, run his channel name, and then spray paint those with the glow-in-the-dark paint. So let's do that right now. Alright, so I just carved out the play button. I'm really happy with how that turned out and how well it looks with the aura mask. So let's carve his channel name into it so we can spray paint the glow-in-the-dark paint on. Alright, so I got the new file loaded up and I got the new bit loaded in and zeroed up. So let's run the channel name and then we're going to be able to go spray paint it. Alright, it just finished carving, so that looks super good. I'm really happy with how that turned out. Let's go hit it with some spray paint. Alright, so we got the sign and we got the glow-in-the-dark paint. So we're going to hit it probably with 3 coats. So let's get into it. Alright, so I got the sign all carved out and spray painted with 3 coats. So I'll show you what it looks like in the dark. So it's kind of hard to see because it's still kind of light out, but you can see how it's kind of glowing. So that's that. Alright, now that I got that painted on, I'm going to be able to pull this aura mask off. Alright, so now I got the piece loaded up, all the aura mask off. So I'm trying something new. So when I cut a profile out, I don't really want it to dig into the nice spoil board. So I just put a piece of 1/4-inch plywood under there, and I'm hoping that it'll hold down enough and that it won't cut into that spoil board. So we'll try that out. And I'm also trying 2 profiling cuts. So I'll do one with the 1/4-inch down cut, which will cut it out really fast. And I put a 1/16 of an inch allowance on there, so that way I could come back with the 1/8 inch down cut bit and clean up those edges. So we'll see how it works. So I'm gonna go run the file right now, so let's see. Alright, so that profile turned out pretty good. I'm actually pretty happy with how that looks. It didn't cut into the spoil board, so now I'm gonna load up the 1/8 inch end mill, re-zero that, and we're going to see how that turns out. And then if I did everything right, there shouldn't really be much sanding to do. Alright, so I got the 1/8 inch end mill loaded up and zeroed. I got the file ready, so let's run this one and hopefully it all works out. And if it does, this will look really good. Alright, so it just finished cutting that profile and I'm really happy with how that turned out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut those bridges, and then I'm going to go with the orbital sander, give the edge a little chamfer, and then just clean up where those bridges were. So let's go do that. Alright, now that I got the bridges cut off, I'm just going to sand those areas flush and then clean up a little bit more around the edges, and then we're going to be able to stain those edges red, add the LEDs, and then ship it off. Alright, so I just sanded that just enough to break all the edges. Now I'm going to go downstairs and add the stain to the sides. Alright, so I just programmed up a cut file for a little pocket for this LED battery pack to sit into. So I'm going to cut that out, then glue this in, then wrap the LEDs around the outside of the sign. And then I'm going to add a little D-ring so that way he can hang it up on the wall. And then the sign's going to be complete. Alright, so that pocket just finished cutting out and it turned out super well because you can't even see it from the outside. And this wire is thin enough where it'll just sneak past. So this fits in there super easily, and then you can still reach in there with your finger and get the LEDs on. So then I'll glue this on and wrap the edges, and then it'll be done. And then I also got to add a little D-ring, but then it'll be done. Alright, so I just finished up the sign. I got the LEDs on there. I got the hanger. I got my signature and the date with the creator now. So that's it. Alright, I want to thank you all for watching today's video on how I made this custom YouTube play button. So I'm going to go ship him the item. I hope he likes it. I think he's going to do a reaction video on it. Like I said earlier, there's a link to his channel below. If you liked today's video, please like and consider subscribing. Thank you all once again.